I think that feels like a nice package there.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at those phones light up. It's Felger and Mazz on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Everybody wondering, is June 1st going to be the day? We've waited for this day. We circled it on the calendar. Will a deal go down today for A.J. Brown in your best guess?
Well, here's where we're at, and happy June 1st, Blue Moon Day to everybody out there in the Philadelphia metro area. The two sides, to my knowledge, as of this weekend, had not spoken in weeks. Weeks, truly. So at some point today, I would imagine this morning, Elliott Wolf, Howie Roseman, front offices and coaching staffs in New England, front offices and coaching staffs in Philadelphia, they'll come into their offices, and there will be a phone call that's made, whether that's at 9 or 10 or noon. But there is an understanding that they would be getting back together today, reconvening, and reopening the conversations that were along the way from weeks ago. So they have to pick up where they left off. Do I think that will happen? I do. I think that'll happen later today. Could there be something that changes things? Always. Do I think there will be? No. Do I think he's going to be traded at some point here in the next 24 to 48 hours to New England? That would be my best guess and best information.
Felger here in the A-hole chair alongside Mazz and Murray. Hi, guys.
Hello.
How you doing? I'm back from a long break to Italy, as Mazz sort of alluded to there. So it's a bigger reentry for me than these guys. I do have some things that I want to circle back to from last week that I wasn't here for, that I've kind of picked up on. So it'll be a bigger reentry for me than others. But everything from the weekend, and obviously the A.J. Brown story is front and center. And Mazz, to me, on the A.J. Brown story, what interests me is not when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen. I'm assuming it's done and it's going to happen. And like the official June 1st designation is here. It officially comes at 4 o'clock. So whether we hit that breaking news sounder at 4:01 or 5:01 or 3 o'clock tomorrow, like that, I'm not interested in talking about will he or won't. I assume he's here, and I assume the trade's done. Okay, I'm on the next thing. What's it cost? What are you giving up? And I think another thing people aren't paying enough attention to is there a contract thing there? Is it not, it's not just the first round pick, but does he want a new contract? Typically when a guy gets traded, it's in conjunction with the new contract. And I'm not, I was kind of clued off to that. Mike Reese wrote over the weekend and talked to some people about this trade. And Ron Carthon, who was a general manager in Tennessee, coinciding with A.J. Brown there, so he's got some experience with the player, brought that up. He says, well, what if he wants a new contract? So it's the cost of this play. You're getting the player, got it. Okay, here comes A.J. Brown. What'd you pay for him? That, to me, is the next shoe to drop. What's the draft pick compensation and what's the money? And let me tell you, it's important for it's important for a lot of reasons, but I'll stop there. What do you think?
So the draft pick compensation to me is the more important of the two, because I've maintained from the beginning, and my opinion has not changed on this, and it will not change on this. A first-round pick is too much. It's too much. I don't care if it's in 28, 27, 29. I mean, I suppose if you told me it was in 2038, I would say who gives a rat's ass. But I'm not. I just think a first-round pick is too much, especially if you have to pay him. Now, the one thing I will add is if he's agreeing to a contract that's actually less than what he's making, if it's advantageous to the Patriots, then I think a first-round pick is more in play. But the bottom line is I don't think we live in an age where you should give up a first-round pick and give a guy a big contract. I don't. Unless he is incredibly unique, unless you are talking about Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, and even with Myles Garrett, I got to look up and see how old he is. I'd question whether or not that is really all that smart. But you get the idea. I'm not giving up both for that kind of player. I am not. I wouldn't do it for A.J. Brown. If it's a first-round pick or more, mistake.
Just parenthetically, you're aware of what happened with Myles Garrett today, aren't you?
Yeah, he got traded. Yeah.
Okay, good.
He's 30, by the way. Myles Garrett.
30.
Yeah, he'll be 31 in December.
Yep.
So I don't have the hang-up of the first-round pick like Mazz does. I don't want to give a first-round pick next year, in which is, if you read, and I'm being told, is supposed to be a loaded draft. But a first in 2028, fine. I can live with that. And I know there's some injury concerns with the knee with A.J. Brown, but let me do the Gasper thing. Apply some first-round pick names over the Patriots' somewhat recent history. So what, you miss out on a N'Keal Harry or Isaiah Wynn or Malcolm Brown? They don't always hit on first-round picks, and I know that they're valuable, but if it's going to be the ass end of the draft, big whoop. Move that first-round pick so you can make your team better this year and improve your offense and help your quarterback and get A.J. Brown.
Okay, so I would not overpay for this player, okay? In the same breath, I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to rip them if they send a first-round pick and give him his full contract. I think that's an overpay. But if they do it, listen, I feel about the salary cap. It's a non-factor. I want them to spend. I want them to be aggressive. I want them to try and get better. And that's all that this move is doing. So their heart's in the right place. And I'm not going to criticize them for it. But in the same breath, I'll tell you, it's an overpay. It's also unprecedented, Mazz. Virtually unprecedented. And when I say that, what I mean is, would the Patriots under Bill Belichick and Tom Brady ever make this move for the bulk of Brady and Belichick's time here?
No.
No way.
No way is right.
No way. If they're going to make this kind of trade, they're getting some sort of discount somewhere. They're buying a distressed asset. So they're getting a break on the draft pick compensation, or they're getting a break on the contract, or a lot of times both. This is... it's sort of been left to the wayside, but this is a questionable guy, A.J. Brown. The way he carried himself in Philadelphia.
Oh, complete checked out these last 2 years.
I mean, should be alarm bells all over the place. He bailed on a winner. They were winning. It's not even one of those things where you can say, well, he was in a losing environment. What do you expect? They won. They did nothing but win. He was there 4 years. They went to 2 Super Bowls, 4 playoff appearances, 1 championship. He put up huge numbers, was a Pro Bowler twice. What's the problem, man? And he had one. So he acted like a complete dick half the time down there. And he's got a bad knee. And you're going to give up top-end draft pick compensation and take on the full contract?
Way too much.
During the bulk of this dynasty here, you would never do that. I say bulk because at the end they got desperate and, for example, they brought in Antonio Brown and paid him a lot of money.
Or a second-round pick for Mohamed Sanu.
Exactly. They gave up a second for Sanu.
That's why I'm saying for the bulk of during the prime, during the meat and potatoes of Brady Belichick, they would never do this kind of trade. They'd bring in this kind of player, but it would be at a discount on a draft pick, or it'd be on a reword contract where they have the leverage. I think A.J. Brown is $29 million guaranteed this year.
Something like that.
Yeah. But, yeah, you're right. It would be a distressed asset at distressed asset prices. So what'd they give up for Moss back in the day? A 4th rounder?
A 4th and a 7th, and he redid his contract.
Right.
Bingo. Which, everyone always sort of, well, they brought on Randy Moss. Do you remember? And you probably don't.
Basically got it for nothing.
You probably don't remember, kids. They didn't just... It's not like they took a risk on Randy Moss. They didn't take a risk on Randy Moss. They got him for nothing. He redid his contract, and Al Davis gave him a sweet because everyone thought Randy Moss was cashed. So they came in, they bid low, they got him for a low number and had all the leverage. Yeah, they did that crap all the time.
I'm just throwing this at you. Did they rework Corey Dillon? I know he went for a second.
Oh, big time.
They did, okay.
Yes, they reworked his contract, too. He accepted to it, and they gave up a decent draft pick, a second-round pick, but they redid his deal. So when they problem guys, and don't forget, A.J. Brown's a problem. Oh, I would spend some time reading up on the stuff in Philly. He acted like a total dick.
Books on the sideline during games.
Not just games. The book just wasn't. He brings out the self-help book on the sidelines. Do you know that was a playoff game?
Oh, I don't remember that. I just thought that was a regular season game.
That they won. He's winning playoff games, and he's sitting there on the sidelines with his self-help book. Give me a break. Okay? It's not just that. In the middle of winning streaks, in the middle of championship seasons, he's stomping his feet and pouting around. And that's a real warning sign. When you do that in a winning environment, Corey Dillon was on a loser. The losers of losers, the Cincinnati Bengals. And Moss, you would say, I'll give you a million examples. There's a guy that's in a losing environment. You put him in the right environment, and all of a sudden, it's a totally different story. A.J. Brown was on the best team in the league. And I'd say the Eagles over those 4 years were just about the best team in the league, maybe second. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
definitely top three, and there's no doubt about that.
They did nothing but win. He mostly did nothing but produce, and he still wasn't good enough. And so you're going to give this guy full freight? You're going to pay top dollar for that guy on the draft pick? You're going to pay top dollar for this guy on the contract? So who's got the most pressure in this deal? Mike Vrabel. This is about Mike Vrabel. The only reason they're doing this is because of Mike Vrabel.
Oh, for sure.
Do you think if Mike Vrabel wasn't here, they'd be anywhere near this trade?
No. I see your point.
It's on him.
I see your point.
This is on him. If that knee blows up, if that knee doesn't check out, if he starts pouting around on the sidelines in the middle of winning streaks and championship seasons, this is on Vrabel. If Mike Vrabel wasn't here, they wouldn't get anywhere near this player.
No, not in a million years.
And when I say that, they'd get near this player if they were buying him on a discount. They'll do that all day long. It's about the deal, Mazz, right?
Always about the deal with
so
them.
They would trade for Attila the Hun if they got to get him on per-game roster bonuses.
Patriot guarantee.
If they got him on Patriot. Beelzebub would be lining up at the X if they could get him, Mazz, for a conditional draft pick and per-game roster bonuses. You can't find me. There's no Cretan low enough where they wouldn't take for a conditional draft pick and a reworked contract. So they would obviously take A.J. Brown for those things. If Mike Vrabel wasn't here, they wouldn't get anywhere near this guy right now.
No, not in a million years.
Like most of the league isn't.
He's the whole draw. Vrabel's the whole draw.
And, oh, by the way, no one else is offering up a first, but you are? Okay, so listen. This is Felger and Mazz, so I'm going to try and give you a little bit of the other side of the story today, which is what this guy was in Philadelphia, what the warning signs are, and why on your best days, but back in the day, you wouldn't do this. And if Mike Vrabel was here, you wouldn't do this. John Kraft wouldn't allow for this. If this were Gerard Mayo still here, and Elliott, they wouldn't.
Oh, please, no way.
No chance.
The Krafts would be like, wait a minute. We're giving him a first-round pick, and we're picking up the whole contract? What are you, stupid?
And he might have a bad knee, and he's a bit of a dick.
We're not doing this.
Yeah.
No chance.
The guy that quit on the Super Bowl champions, who has a bad knee, and $29 million guaranteed, and that's going to cost us a first-round pick. You're telling me we're doing that? No, we're not. Get out of my office. You twerp. Out. If Elliott Wolf came to them with that. No, they're only doing this because Mike Vrabel's going to bat for it, and Mike Vrabel just went to the Super Bowl, and so they're doing this because Mike Vrabel's here. If it doesn't work, it's Mike Vrabel's fault.
True.
No one else is. It doesn't feel to me like anyone else is willing to do this other than you. Now, again, the caveat is, let's see. So this is what I'm interested in. What's the draft pick compensation? What's his contract look like? If you got a good deal on the picks, if he reworks his contract, you can take that first segment right back. First segment, null and void, scratch, exit out. This is what I want to know. He makes sense at something of a discount. His knee is bad, and he acted like a complete dick in Philadelphia for a good team. And so you should get a break on that. If you don't, that's just on Vrabel. And if it doesn't work out, that's an easy second guess. You had to have this guy, Mike, at full freight. Did you see the knee? Did you see how he carried on the best team in the league? You're not going to be better than the Eagles. You're not going to be the Eagles the next couple of years, I don't think. If he did that to them, why is he not going to do it to you? Because of you? Oh, okay, big guy. It's all on Vrabel. So this is what I'm waiting to see now. That other shoe to drop. That's our A.J. Brown's thought. A.J. Brown thoughts. But we got more. It's like I said, a reentry Monday. I have some other Patriots thoughts. The Christian Gonzalez contract holdout. Don't hold it anything or don't call it anything other than that. The Gonzalez holdout has begun. Michael Wenu is still fat. Tell me you got to this last week, Mazz.
No, we didn't.
You of all people didn't do the Wenu thing?
No, not on Wenu, no.
He's huge. Michael Wenu is still huge.
No, Mazz was hung up if the quarterback was fat.
Oh.
Yeah. Because he's put on some weight.
Okay, well, I look forward to circling back to that, too. There was a Vrabel comment from last week that bugged me. I'm going to get you that. Red Sox, the Roman Anthony story. I need a bite at that apple on his injury. Are the screws tightening on Craig Breslow? That's on my list. Got to get to Victor Wembanyama, the Knicks, and OKC Thunder not making it. Told you. Sorry. Oh, sorry about your Habs, Murray. Sorry about that. Sorry, buddy. You all right?
Yeah, no, they looked like they were competitive in that series outside of Game 1.
We'll have a Canadians elimination party later on in the show. And, we almost got destroyed by a space rock. Who could ever have seen that one coming? A lot to get to. Your calls next, so right after this.
What did the quarterback look like? We'll start there. I've seen some photos. He looks a little bit more bulked up. Is he a little bit more bulky to you? And talk about what you saw there. Because I know, look, this is there's how much we can evaluate here in terms of no pads, OTAs. I know take it with a grain of salt, but how did Drake May look?
Alex, is he bulked up or is he fat?
Now, more of Felger and Mazz. Now, on the Sports Hub.
I think Mike Vrabel has some experience with this, obviously having been with A.J. Brown, and that was the reason why he was traded, was the knee, and that was 4 years ago. The knee was already starting to go and starting to show signs of that.
To interject, there was video when A.J. Brown was traded from draft night, and that showed Vrabel
upset,
disconsolate.
Yep.
And I came to understand from the reporting is it was more him being disconsolate that it had to happen.
Right.
But he felt as if it had to happen.
No, he knew. My understanding was they had explored doing an extension with him. They started to talk about doing. Now, this was the year, of course, that he was first eligible. He was 3 years into the league. And the doctors more or less told him, like, you can't give him a huge contract. And you know how this stuff goes. Like, the doctor says something, and I mean, it's disappointing for everybody. Doctors more or less told John Robinson, like, it would probably be irresponsible to do a monster contract with this guy. Now, obviously, that wound up being the incorrect assessment because he's made it 4 years.
Yep.
But if this is a knee condition that will continue to degenerate, which is what I understand it was, if that's what it looked like in 2022, probably not going to look very good now. And then you add to it the fact that this was a factor for the Rams.
It's Burt Breer on with Tommy Kern some time ago recently. Again, it is a re-entry Monday. Brought to you by our friends at Blue Bear. When it comes to plumbing, heating, and air, no one compares to Blue Bear. When you call Blue Bear, you can expect expert service from their friendly staff for all your heating and plumbing services. For more information or to book your appointment today, visit bluebearplumbing.com. I'm not interested about A.J. Brown coming to New England or not. I assume that he is. It's just a matter of when. I'm curious about, are they going to pay full freight of just a straight, non-conditional first-round pick and pick up the whole contract? For a guy with a bad knee?
Too much.
That doesn't sound like them. And I don't blame him. And the way he carried on in Philadelphia for a team that did pretty much nothing but win, and he produced, by and large, you're going to give up a full freight for that?
Yeah, look, Mike, it's too much. It's always been too much from the very beginning. Look, I have felt that way from the start. I'm not trying to say I told you so, but let's see what the ultimate price comes in at. If it's a first-round pick, I said this last week while you were away. First-round pick is too much. He's just not that player anymore. He's not, let alone with all the trouble you're talking about and then taking on the contract. So, on some level, listen, I get it. You want the player, people want the team to be good, and we're not going to kill them for the price. But if we're having the conversation about the value of the trade, if we're having that conversation, a first-round pick in the contract, way too much.
Oh, and I just think, boy, that is Vrabel sticking his neck out there. It's going to be an easy one to second guess. And it's not the player. The player's great. And the quote-unquote problems are not that insurmountable. I mean, I think he's been a football problem. I've heard nothing about him off the field, Feels like a good, hardworking pro. But the pouting and the carrying on a good team, like that's just, so you get that at a discount. Or a guy who had a knee that was starting to go 4 years ago, you get that at a discount. You don't pay the full market for that, and it doesn't feel like anyone else is. So if you are, boy, that is out of character. There's only one reason you would do that. That's Vrabel. And that's who you blame if it goes wrong. It's him. because they would never do this unless Vrabel went to bat for it. No, but listen, let's see what the compensation looks like. I'm interested. Yeah, it's a conditional second that goes to a first if he's healthy and they make a Super Bowl. Okay,
that I can live with.
All right, yeah, he has $29 million guaranteed. He's agreed to restructure that where he gets that 29, but you'll spread it over 2 years. We're going to tack on 3 dummy years and blah 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 blah. Okay, now that feels like their kind of thing. I got it. I just don't think this is a player that you do for any cost. There are some players you would do for any cost. Maybe Myles Garrett is one of them. Like,
right. I would even say
mentioned.
Micah Parsons. Like, give me a guy in his mid-20s. And those cases exist, but this is not one of them.
People forget this guy has baggage. You don't pay top dollar for guys with baggage. I just read again from Reese. I'll read you a couple different things. Greg Cosell, who does NFL films, a lot of film work on A.J. Brown. When motivated, A.J. Brown is still a higher level wideout in the league. Boy, that's packed with a lot of
higher.
So you're going to pay full freight for the first thing in his assessment is when motivated. You know what that means? There's times he's not motivated.
Exactly.
You wouldn't say that for someone who's always motivated. So when motivated, A.J. Brown is still a higher level wideout in the league. That's not a top-of-the-market guy. While he's not a burner by any means, says Cosell, he does have a great feel for attacking leverage and blind spots, and therefore at times can be a vertical dimension. There's a lot of parsing going on there. Again, Ron Carthon, who crossed paths with him in Tennessee. Rand Carthon. Quote, how much time do we truly believe he has left in the tank? Good thing to say. He's 29 years old, got a knee problem. How much does he have left in the tank? And the other part is, where are we in terms of his contract? Is he looking for more money, more guarantees, or is he just looking for a fresh start to come to a place and work with people he knows, he said. So you really need to dive into that and understand that situation. Will he miss practice time? Will he respond to playing on a different surface, grass versus turf? Those are the things you have to game plan for. All good points. This is an AstroTurf field. He's got a bad knee. How's that going to hold up? Also, the knee thing. During the Super Bowl year, he had it drained twice a week down the stretch, including twice, before the Super Bowl. Getting his knee drained twice a week. That's no small thing. And then I just can't help but go back to how he carried himself on a winner. I'll give guys a break if they're in a losing environment and all they want to do is win and they're surrounded by a bunch of turkeys. It doesn't bring out the best in you. But when you're winning at that kind of clip, again, the self-help nonsense happened during a playoff game that they won. He only had 3 targets and 1 catch. So here comes, the pouty baby on the sidelines with his Fakakta self-help book. What a show that was. It was the playoffs, and they were winning, and he's doing that. What's going to happen if you're not in the playoffs and you're not winning? This past season, after a win over Tampa Bay, in which they put up 31 points, he had 9 targets, and this ran their record to 4-0. So they win 4 straight out of the chute. They put up 31 points in that particular ball game. He had 9 targets in that game. He blows off the media after the game and then, of course, goes to social media and posts a Bible verse, Mark 6:11. Quote, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulders and be on your way, end quote.
I remember this.
This is after they won.
Right.
They're 4-0 on the year. They've just put up 31 points. His targets in the 3 games going backwards from that Tampa game were 9, 10, and 8. He had 1 in the opener, okay? But in the next 3 games,
27 targets.
He had 27 targets. In those 3 games, they put up 31, 33, and 20 points. They were 4-0 coming off a championship. And he goes to social media and starts pulling that crap? Dude, what's your problem? What's your problem? And I'll take you, but I'm not paying full freight for that. You have baggage. Baggage comes at a discount. It should come at a decent discount. Never mind the fact I don't see anyone else bidding. So what are the Patriots doing?
Oh, they should not give up a first-round pick in this deal. And again, to me, this guy's contract should be redone in their favor. The idea of, like, giving up the picks and taking on the contract and leaving everything as is, to me, is asinine.
Oh, my God. And so after that, they start out 4-0. He pulls that crap. They lose their next two. Real guy concerned about winning. Just about winning, right, AJ?
And, Mike, that thing just quickly, because the thing like some of the bull crap I sort of chalk up to, par for the course, part of the deal, part of the territory, some of the bull crap. That thing about draining his knee twice a week should scare the crap out of you.
You see his last playoff game? Murray, what happened to you? After that playoff game in San Francisco, you were very strong. You said, I'm out on A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I don't love him. But the part of, and this is why I think they're going to have to give a first-round pick up for this guy. They've basically based their whole offseason on getting A.J. Brown. You have your own players openly talking about A.J. Brown, something else that certainly would have never happened during the Belichick years. His former teammate, Milton Williams, talking about the softball game yesterday. Since they started these OTAs, Drake May openly talk about him like, yeah, hell of a player. Like, it used to be you don't talk about players from other teams because they basically don't exist. They're all acting like they're getting him. They're pot committed. So? They've done it to themselves, so I've talked myself into it.
So you're just going along. You're just getting along to get along, Murray.
Pretty much.
Since when? That last playoff game, Murray.
Not great, no. And I've also, the other thing is I'm trying to convince myself that this is Moss at the end, where he was basically faking it and checked out and didn't want to be there anymore. Granted, that's a suck team. They weren't winning. A little different. But my hope is that A.J. Brown will be like that with Moss once he comes here.
Yeah, that playoff game, he sucked in that playoff game.
After carping for 2 straight years about not getting the ball, and he got 7 targets. He dropped 3 of them, and they were clear. They were good. And the big one, go back and look at it.
It's straight frying pan hands.
3rd and 5 over the middle, 2:21 left, down 4. Driving for a go-ahead score, 3rd and 5, right off his hands. There was another one earlier in the game where he dropped it, waltzed off the field. Sirianni sort of ran up to him to try and get him off the field so they didn't get it too many men or delay a game. He got into his face. Real kind of loser behavior.
And then there was one at the end that was kind of thrown out in front of him, and he kind of half-assed it a little bit.
I think that might have been earlier in the game, but that was
right,
one of the 3. So he had 7 targets, 3 catches, 3 drops. After carrying on like that for 2 straight years, there's his chance. It's just about the winning, right, AJ? Yet, no one, which I just want to say again, I'm okay taking a shot on that player. Change of scenery. There's a lot of guys get a change of scenery. He grew to hate his quarterback there, obviously, even though at one point Jalen Hurts was the godfather to his children.
I think I heard that before. I just remembered it now.
I put it in the notes. He was a godfather. He had Jalen Hurts become the godfather of his children.
Now he hates him like poison.
Now he won't even invite him to the wedding. This guy's a handful. He's a piece of work. He's got baggage. And you're just going to give up a first-round pick and pay him a full contract? What's gotten into them down there? This doesn't sound like them.
No, it doesn't. Unless there's a lot of Patriot guarantees in that contract.
No, that's what I want to see. All right, I promise your phones and more Patriots notes after a big breaking news across the NFL today. Here it is. Go back to the phones for the 5 o'clock hour, Mazz, unless you have a fresh thought for us.
God, no.
Felger and Mazz, 98.5 Sports Hub.
Before I go to your phones, and again, couple open lines if you want them at 617-779-0985. Christian Gonzalez hasn't been at OTAs the last couple weeks, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
He was at the
started last week, yeah.
Charity softball event last night. He's around. He's just not showing up. So the holdout has begun. And certainly a long way to go, but I think you just have to take this as a first sign of where it's headed. Where do you think this is headed, Mazz?
Nowhere good.
Correct.
Nowhere good. Again, if it's happening now, obviously you got minicamp coming up. That's mandatory. So that's middle of June. We're a couple of weeks out from that, but I don't care whether it's mandatory or it's not. If he shows up then, he might show up and not participate. I think this thing's, full blown. The fact that he's not participating in OTA should tell you plenty.
And it's amazing. I'm confident saying it's a holdout and it's a contract thing because his teammate told me. Marcus Jones at the charity softball thing here, reading from Doug Kyde in the Herald. I think he told others. Marcus Jones said, quote, I know he's always one of those guys to, no matter where he's at, he's always working, and that's a day-to-day thing. I've been in a situation learning how contract negotiation stuff goes about. They want what's best for them, and he wants what's best for him as well. So we're not rushing it when it comes down to it. And at the end of the day, we all know the value that he comes when it comes down to our team. So thank you, Marcus, for confirming what is obvious. It's a contract situation. And I don't, you should have real concerns about how this is going to end. Because, the question isn't whether he's asking to be the highest paid corner ever. Of course he's asking to be the highest paid corner ever, as anyone would, as Devin Weatherspoon in Seattle certainly is. So he's well within his rights, and it's not even unreasonable for him to say, I'm next, I'm one of these guys, so I get the most. Yeah, he should. But does he want to be some sort of game-changing defensive player, period? Where you break the bank not just for terms of corners, but overall as a defensive player. Pats aren't going to do that.
No way.
Maybe they let him set the corner market, but they're not going to let him set like the defensive player market or some sort of crossover, pay you like an offensive. They're not going to do that.
Okay, so now the more than one person has already brought this up. And I asked Hawley last week, I said, this is the second time you brought it up. What, do you know that he's asking for defensive player money versus corner? No, I'm talking about what I asked Hawley.
Right.
When I asked Hawley, and Hawley said it's informed speculation.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, he knows better than me. I know Phil, and I know Mike Giardi said it on NBC Sports Boston as well. So Gonzalez has hired agents that don't just, they're not playing ball. They're in it. It's a business for them too. So it doesn't surprise me one bit that he'd be asking for that. Pats aren't going to do that, and he's not going to show up. Or what's worse, because these owners are so cheap that they've figured out how to get these guys into camp just to have them quit in front of everyone's faces once they get to camp. So when I say he's not going to show up, he's not showing up to this because it's voluntary. He can't be fined. As soon as you get to something that is mandatory, like the full mini camp or training camp, and then he can get fined, he shows up, but his back is sore, his hamstring is tight. And so these brilliant, cheap-ass owners, I say the brilliant part sarcastically, because teams would let these guys out of their fines once they re-signed their contracts, said you can't do that anymore. The fines, you have to pay the fines. Okay, the players smartly said, okay, fine. If I don't show up, I get fined. I'll show up, but I'm not playing. My hamstring hurts. And so these cheap owners have created this thing, which is much worse. Seeing a guy malingering on the field there, faking an injury. You think that's what's a better look for the team? That or the guy's just sitting at home on his couch?
Guy sitting at home on his couch.
So these owners, just because they're them, created this situation. So what's going to happen is Gonzalez is going to show up, but he's going to not be on the field. Yeah. And so this is coming. This is coming.
So I do wonder, too, Mike, how Vrabel feels about this whole thing and whether or not they're entirely on the same page. And look, I'm not telling you it's like World War III internally, but Vrabel put a lot into this guy. It felt to me like at some point during the season, I go back to that Baltimore game, where Vrabel sang Gonzalez's praises after the game about buying in, sticking his nose in there, tackling Derrick Henry, and that he saw a quote-unquote noticeable change in Gonzalez's play and demeanor in that game. He's talked about buy-in. He's talked about what it takes to win, and Gonzalez having it. They've said publicly that they view him as a centerpiece guy going forward, all that. So now what? You're not going to, they don't want to pay him? Because that's how it's going to come off.
I don't think they should. Trade him.
So if the money is what he's talking about, that is defensive player money versus cornerback money.
Right.
Then trade him is right.
I mean, you should be the highest paid corner. I'll give you that. Fine. If Sauce Gardner makes 30 and Trent McDuffie makes 31, you get 32. Or if Devon Witherspoon gets 32, you get 33 a year. Fine. You're within your rights for that. Now you want to be paid like Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett and guys like this? I mean, I would still do it because the cap stuff doesn't matter. I just know the Crafts are never going to do that. So instead of doing this whole dance, just trade them. Someone's offering you 2 first-round picks, trade him. So I've been saying this the whole offseason.
Yeah, there's no need to play this thing out, especially if he's holding out to week 10. That'd be so stupid.
So now it's the voluntary stuff he's going to hold out. The mandatory stuff he's going to show up but sit out. And he's going to go on until week 10 when he's going to qualify for his year of service time. And then instead of doing this whole thing, get 2 first-round picks for him and move on.
They should do that. I just have one question about the whole. He wants to be paid like a marquee defensive player, not just a corner. I doubt that's coming from his side. I mean, why would
Right.
Okay,
That's a fair point.
So, like, is that legit?
Who knows? I don't know.
Okay, is that legit,
I
or
don't
are
know
they just playing some sort of game?
On his side, if they're cool, they say, well, listen, he's a game-changing defensive player. Why are we just talking about what he is as a corner? Why aren't we talking about him as a game-changing defensive player? And then maybe it's his side's way of promoting that fact.
Setting the market.
Yeah. I don't know that just came from the team, in other words.
Okay, I just don't trust the Patriots.
Nor should you. Okay. Michael Wenhu's still fat.
He probably ate Christian Gonzalez.
I just like the way Bedard put it. He threw up a picture of Michael Wenu on the practice field. And this is not the one that you're going to see in the simulcast. This is ours, from our people. But it gets the job done, I suppose. Bedard's was a little better. Just the angle and the way that Bedard writes, looks like this will be another season that Michael Wenu works and plays himself into shape because he looks even bigger than at the end of last season. He said, quote, his practice jersey was working overtime in the midsection. I just like the way the practice jersey working overtime.
It does look like it's a schmedium of sorts. It's
and there he is in the softball
small
game, and they should give him they only have any 4Xs.
Wow, look at the size of his ass.
He's huge.
My God, his ass is. We
And
can't,
I don't like his swing
That's
either.
not a good swing.
Well, guy that big can't make contact.
He can't really.
can't generate the torque.
He doesn't get around very well. So let me see one more, Vinny. Let me see the swing. Come on, big fella. Put your tush into it.
You got a piece of that one.
Okay.
That was roped.
Yeah, that was a homer.
Yeah.
That was a dinger.
It was a pop-up. Oh, well, yeah, but they get... Never mind.
He got it. So listen, we also told you he wasn't going to get that contract, and he's not. He was due to make like $17.5 million next year. None of it guaranteed. $17.5 million next year. None of it guaranteed.
That is some caboose.
He was not going to be getting that. So they worked it down. They did give him some guarantees. They gave him $9 million guaranteed, and so he took a 50% pay cut, or just over a 50% pay cut, but it was guaranteed. So they both won on that. Can I give you real quick the Vrabel quote that bugged me? So Vrabel last week, and it's the first time he spoke in a while since the Rossini thing, and I think for the most part he was able to brush it off, and it wasn't much of a story. But there was one quote that sort of bugged me where I thought weasel move. He's asked about missing day 3 of the draft. Did you do this?
Oh, yeah.
Day 3 of the draft. Jimmy, I guess you can play it. Go ahead. How do you feel about missing day 3 of the draft?
They moved around. They made some trades. And again, this draft was pretty unique. I don't know, if it's really been talked about, but the volume of players in the draft wasn't what it normally is.
So you didn't need to be there.
We saw a lot of players that went back. To school that probably could have come out. I would imagine that it's the NIL and their ability to go back and play for being compensated in college. We moved around.
Okay. This guy. So he has to miss day 3 of the draft because of his personal situation.
The draft sucked,
because he's got a mess. Because he's got a mess on his hands. Instead of just owning it, it's wow. Get him.
This was unbelievable, this comment.
They moved around. And you understand, this was a weird year. None of those players were any good. A lot of them went back to school, about the NIL thing. So, yeah, we really wasn't. Moved around.
That's nice. So if you were drafted between rounds 4 and 7, basically you show up and know deep down Mike Vrabel doesn't give a rat's ass about me.
Like the kid they took in the 4th round or 5th round, the Prunty, the cornerback who had a couple of picks last week in OTAs. Mike Vrabel thinks you suck. You weren't worth his time.
But what a week. How about just owning it?
Brutal.
Own it.
Brutal. As bad as it gets.
Just own it. That's what Belichick would do. Passive aggressive, defensive, unable to own it. Day 3? There was no one there. They're all going back to school now. With this NIL thing has really changed it.
This is why I don't come in on Friday.
Yeah, we moved all around. There wasn't anyone there.
Smaller audience.
Draft wasn't what it normally was.
Especially during summer.
They all went back to school, didn't you?
Yeah. Summer or Mazz.
No big deal.
I just cut out.
Weasel move. Weasel. Good God.
Yeah, those shows don't matter.
Just own it. My goodness. That was the one where I said, like, come on, Mike. Come on.
That was a dick comment. It was a dick comment. It was a total, again, completely belittling the players who were taken in the final 3 rounds of that draft. 4 rounds, really, but they didn't have a 4th round pick. I think they had a multiple 5ths, if I remember right. So, think of that. They took 4 or 5 guys in the final 3 rounds of the draft, and Vrabel's basically saying, you guys all suck anyway.
Yeah, they moved around.
Yeah, really, don't waste my time. See you later.
We traded out.
I don't care if you come to camp or not.
All those guys sucked anyway.
Seriously.
I mean, as opposed to just owning it. But anyway, okay, so there's all the football stuff. I got calls here on the board. We'll get to them. Do you want to introduce some Red Sox stuff as well? Don't go anywhere. We're right back after this.